All right, hey, welcome everybody to the first episode of Welcome to the Shit Show. I am Nick Talbot, also known as. All right, hey, welcome everybody to the first episode of Welcome to the Shit Show. I am Nick Talbot, also known as. All right, hey, welcome Oops, I forgot to mute. YouTube. Sorry about that. Anyway, I am Mick Talbot. I am Dr. Rock. Used to be Dr. Rock. I'm still kind of Dr. Rock. Anyway, tonight you're going to have Dr. Rock's jukebox playing behind me. I got a 200 disc changer back there that's got a whole bunch of random CDs in it that I'll be playing throughout the show here. And so this is a no politics show. This is just music, movies, sports, bullshit, whatever I feel like talking about, whatever catches my eye. I did pull up a couple of things that I found on the old Facebook today, some stuff I wanted to talk about. And of course, if you are watching on YouTube, the chat is open. If you want to talk to me, go ahead. I'll answer any questions that you have for me. Just gonna. Oh, I think I got some Savage Garden playing right now. Here he is. Yes, it is. You can still be free by Savage Garden off of Affirmation. Great album, by the way. Great album. So anyway, first frame I wanted to talk about today I have up here is it was a map. This is a map of the best-selling musical artists by English country or county of origin. So I've got a map up as well here. I can't uh, show you unfortunately, but I suppose I actually could. Hang on, let's see. I bet I could do that. Add source. Nope, that's not. Hey, once again, this is my first show, so bear with me on this. I'm not by any means an expert. Oh, there it is. Counties. All right. So, what we're going to do here is in our map. All right, so down here in Cornwall, their best selling music artist by English County is the Aphex Twins. I actually know their music a little bit. Not a big fan, but they're all right. Up here in Devon, their favorite musical artist is Muse. I'm actually a big fan of Muse. I like Muse. And then, of course, over here in Somerset, one of my favorite 80s bands right there, Tears for Fears. Somerset, so Tears for Fears. Down here in Dorset, which is actually funny because I live about 6 miles from Dorset, Minnesota. Dorset, theirs is actually a surprise. I would have figured it would have been something newer in the 80s, 90s, but little Emerson, Lake and Palmer. So ELP, they obviously must be from the Dorset area. Over here in Hampshire, that's another great 80s band called Level 42. Level 42 up here in Wiltshire, that's Mr. James Blunt, the Mr. You're Beautiful guy. Let's go over here to Berkshire. Berkshire, of course, Radiohead. Radiohead, great band there. Let's go over here to Surrey. Surrey, that is Genesis. So Genesis, big there. The Cure down here in Sussex, which makes a lot of sense. Kent, that is Miss Joss Stone. Joss Stone, amazing singer right there. Of course, in the town of Essex, that is Depeche Mode. Depeche Mode. So let's see what else we got here. Let's go up here to Lancashire. Lancashire up here. That is the band called Spooky Tooth. That's a good band right there, Spooky Tooth. So anyway, that was my first little thing I wanted to talk about. It's just really crazy. There's a bunch of other ones on here, and I was looking at a lot of these going, I know most of these. There's a few of them. There's one on here, China Drum. I don't know that, but I just did an episode of my uh, birthdays thing I did this day in rock and Prefab Sprout. Now that I did something about that, I actually know the lead singer. His birthday was the beginning of February, so that's pretty cool. Of course, Mr. Jake Bugg, another one, great ones there. And then from Staffordshire, I see one more I should have announced. Of course, Def Leppard. So yeah, pretty cool stuff there. I know you're probably not as interested as I am, but hey, it is what it is. The biggest thing about my thing here is I'm just gonna talk. Just gonna. It's probably gonna be a good way for me to get stuff out off of my mind. Of course, you are in the Zen Den 2 down here in Nevis, Minnesota. Zen Den 1, of course, was in the beautiful city of Vero Beach, where we lived for a few years before we moved back to Minnesota. My Zen Den was the hangout of the park there at Huron Cay. That is for absolute sure. Uh, so, hey Patrick, I appreciate you being on there, my friend. So the next one I wanted to talk about here today was, of course, today, born on this day, 1977 to February 11th. Mr. Mike Shinoda from Lincoln Park. So that makes him what 38 years old today. So happy birthday, Mike! Of course, Lincoln Park, huge fan of the Lincoln Park band, the music, even a fan of the new stuff with Emily Armstrong. It's crazy that they are actually able to seriously replace. See, once again, it's not a replacement though. Oh, who are we listening to here? Oh, it sounds like a perfect circle. Cool. So anyway, they're not replacing Chester because you can never replace Chester in that band. What they did was they found a replacement singer to continue on the band, and obviously she'll never be able to do any justice for the stuff that Chester sang. It's impossible. Chester is Chester, Emily, you're Emily. Now, their new album is walls to the walls amazing. I love every song on it. Mike's vocals match up so well with her, and they really do a great job of combining their voices. So, if you haven't heard anything off of it, I would take a listen. Um, if you haven't given it a fair shot, because obviously we all miss Chester. I mean, it's we've lost too many singers that were gone too young from my generation. I mean, here's one right here on my shirt. I mean, MCA, Ad Rock, Mike D. Great band, but MCA, man, he won't be around with us anymore, and that means that the Beastie Boys won't be able to make any more music. They couldn't do it without MCA. Um, so anyway, back to Lincoln Park. So shout out to Emily Armstrong and the boys in Lincoln Park for doing what they did, and not letting the Lincoln Park fans who still want more music, not letting them fade away. But like I said, lost too many too young. Obviously, Chris Cornell, Chester, obviously Kurt Cobain, Scott Weiland. I mean, Lane Staley. I mean, there's just so many to you can't even. Stevie Ray Vaughan, obviously one of my favorites, but you know, so we were lucky, and that's the great thing about music is we were lucky enough to have them leave us something that we can cherish the rest of the time that we're alive, and that's their music, that's their passion, that's their voice to us. Because the biggest thing that I've taken away from music in all of my entire 50 years of listening to music as far back as I can remember is how music made me feel. Obviously music is music is a medicine. Music heals us, but it also helps us when we're hurt. It also helps us hurt. When you're in a rough place and you're listening to some really downtrodden music, it can really mess with your brain. Just because those people that write those things and record that music, they know what to say. So, and I'm kind of segueing here because my next page I'm going to talk about is the top 50 albums of all time according to sales. And I'm going to talk about the top 10 because a couple of those are favorites of mine. So, oh, look at that. Stone Temple Pilots. Nice. That right there is a band, I think, out of the main four that came out of that era: Soundgarden, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Stone Temple Pilots, Alice in Chains 5. I'm sorry. Stone Temple Pilots by far was my favorite act. I know Nirvana got most of the hype because of what Kurt Cobain was. He was a beautiful poet. Um, but something about Core, Purple, Tiny Music, even Four, the Black album, they were all great albums. Um, so I guess my that's my opinion. Obviously, I'm entitled to my own opinion. Um, and I always considered myself. I grew up in the '80s. I mean, I was born in '71, so my heyday of music was '84 through end of high school '90. So I had some crazy ass bands that I absolutely loved. And I always considered myself an '80s hair guy, an '80s pop guy, but you know, if you think about it, my real years of partying hard were obviously in my 20s when I was of age to drink and out at the bar and hey man, I think honestly, and then of course getting into the DJ stuff, the '90s man, I think the '90s bands are actually more favorites for me. Of course, right now, I mean, everybody knows me, knows who my favorite, you know, rock band is. It was Metallica, still is Metallica, but I found two new favorites that I'm fighting between to see which one is going to claim my favorite rock band, and it's between the amazing Shinedown, because Shinedown is phenomenal. Brent Smith is ridiculously great vocalist, amazing stage presence, and the other one is Ice Nine Kills. Once again, look, man, I'm about presence on stage. I'm about because being a retired entertainer, um, that was my big thing, man. It was all about am I Marcus Aurelius or whatever the hell his name is from Gladiator? Are you not entertained? When I'm sitting there and I'm paying my hard-earned money and I buy your T-shirt and I drink the $12 beer back when I drank beer and shit. Look, man, I need a show. You got to show me something when I spend all this money. And I have not seen Ice Nine Kills. Everybody that has seen Ice Nine Kills that I know said, "Holy shit, this is crazy." I have watched all of their music videos. I am an absolute fanatic for Spencer. I think he is ridiculously great songwriter. Obviously, a big horror fan, but so between the two, they're really both neck and neck right now. If there would have been a third, if Bad Wolves would have not kind of well, they broke up. Let's not even lie about it. They're not Bad Wolves anymore. So, but yeah, Bad Wolves was really taking the spot. I fell in love with that Disobey album. Actually, I have that on vinyl. That's how much I love that album. But so speaking of albums that here is according to sales. I'm gonna have to put my glasses on for this shit because I can't read. So anyway, top 10 albums of all time by sales. Now, this is not length of time on charts, this is just purely on dollars coming in. And right now, number 10 with it looks like $58 million. Well, that doesn't make any goddamn. How many copies did they sell? Anyway, I won't go off of that. So basically, in number 10, this one came out in 1972. It is probably the longest charting album of all time. Actually, one of the songs played earlier on the jukebox before I started. That is from The Dark Side of the Moon, and that is Pink Floyd, number 10. I have that on vinyl. I also have it on CD. It's actually in the CD player as well. Great album. I have actually tried to sync up The Dark Side of the Moon with The Wizard of Oz. Parts of it 100% work, parts of it not even close. But there is a YouTube video out there. It's called, I think it's called Dark Side of Oz or something like that. If you look it up, they did a pretty good job of syncing it together. So if you're interested in checking that out, I would do it, man. All right, what do we got on this? Hey, some Sublime for you tonight. One of my other bands. I got to see Sublime with Rome and Slightly Stupid down in Florida, in Tampa, at an outdoor concert, and it was unbelievable. I I'm not a big fan of Rome. Obviously, he's no Bradley, um, but the stuff he has done with with Sublime himself is really good. And then, of course, he works with a lot of the other artists. Dirty Heads, he did some stuff with them as well. So, but anyway, Sublime playing right now for you, Under My Voodoo. All right, so number 9 tonight, 1969. You're going to see a pattern here. Most of these are all from 19. Yes, I just read that as well. Slightly Stupid is coming to Minnesota. I am going to look for the date on that here as soon as I get time to. Anyway, most all of these albums here are 1988 and below because obviously nowadays nobody buys records. Number 9, Abbey Road, the Beatles. I have it on CD. Uh, it's a good album. Obviously, there's a lot of controversy behind it. Is that really Paul McCartney because he wasn't wearing any shoes and he was walking across Abbey Road, and was that the symbol that he was dead or blah blah blah, all the stuff. Look, Paul McCartney's alive. All right, let's just. If you want to get into conspiracy theories, that's a different channel. That's a different show. Um, but Paul McCartney is still alive. That is Paul McCartney. Number eight. Number eight is another one of my all-time favorite albums. It actually came out the year I was born. This one here has a couple of great songs on it. As soon as I tell you the songs, you'll know exactly who it is. That is Little Black Dog, Little Rock and Roll, and of course, Stairway to Heaven. That's right. Led Zeppelin number 4, or the Zolfo album, or the self-titled, whatever the hell you want to call it. Obviously, instant classic album right there. I have that on vinyl and on CD as well. Um, oh, I'm sorry. There's a 92 on here. I missed that one. Of course, Led Zeppelin, one of the great blues rock bands of all time. Sad day when John Bonham passed away. I do have some stuff, Page and Plant stuff, and I have Jimmy Page and Alison Krauss stuff. I mean, Robert Plant and Alison Krauss stuff. Robert Plant, I mean, great vocalist. I mean, great vocalist. Jimmy Page, I think, honestly, one of the top 5 guitar players of all time. John Paul Jones, phenomenal bass player. And then, of course, Bonzo himself. John Bonham, of course, his son, Jason Bonham, did some drumming for a little while when they did a reunion. But all right, number 7 on the list. Number 7 on the list. I talked about this band a little bit earlier as well from that grunge era. Number 7 album of all time, according to sales, is Nevermind by Nirvana. Now, don't get me wrong, I hated this album when it came out. I'm not even going to lie, I hated this album. I was into hair. I was still into the Panteras. I was into the Sepultura. And this whiny shit came out that I did not understand. I did not like. But then it grew on me. Um, but then I also found Pearl Jam, and then I found Stone Temple Pilots and Alice in Chains and Soundgarden and all that other happy grunge music that was around. And still not a huge fan of Nevermind, but I appreciate it for what it is. It is by far the day that hair metal died. There's no going around it. The day that hit the charts was the day that all of the bands that were in the 80s had to figure out how to adapt, and most of them didn't. So it's sad too because there were some really great bands that came out late in the Hair Nation era in 90, 91, 92 that really weren't hair bands, but because they were from that era ish, they got roped into it. Like Tesla. Tesla is by far anything but a hair band. Okay, they are a complete rock and roll band. I've seen Tesla 3 times. It's the farthest thing from a hair band. And but of course, because they were on MTV, same time as all of the other bands, and they kind of had the same sound as not really the same sound, the same tempo as all the other bands of that era, then yeah, of course they were going to get roped into the hair band thing. But Tesla doesn't even belong in that group. So anyway, Nevermind, number 7. Not a big fan. Of course, going back to 1980 here. Some call this the the Bon Scott eulogy. Obviously, Back in Black, AC/DC, 1980. Brian Johnson taking over vocals after Bon Scott tragically passed away from, I believe, alcohol asphyxiation of some kind in his car, something along those lines. I'm not 100% on the story, but of course, the song that they're probably most known for, "You Shook Me All Night Long," track number 7 on that CD. Of course, Back in Black, "Giving the Dog a Bone," "Have a Drink on Me." Great. It's a great album. It gets overplayed just because, I mean, it is AC/DC Back in Black. I mean, you got to play it if you're, you know, crowds love it. As entertainers, as DJs, as bands, I have some friends who are bands, some family members who are bands. They absolutely hate playing those kind of songs, but it's what gets the crowd going. My family's band on my wife's side, Twist of Fate, absolutely killer band. They play so many different varieties of music in their shows that they're a pleasure to watch, man. They have my amazing niece who is 18 or 18 is the best drummer I've ever seen in my life. She can play anything. So she's spectacular, and of course, Beth, my sister-in-law, has got an amazing voice. My brother-in-law Randy is a great guitar player, and then they got another guitar player and a bass player. And unfortunately, the bass player slipped and fell, and I don't know if he tore his rotator, but I know he messed up his shoulder. So hopefully he heals up here soon, so they can get back out and start playing. Number 5. Now, number 5, kind of surprised. It's actually this high up, but came out in 1988. It did have, let's see, one, two, three. I'm pretty sure it had like 5 number 1 songs on it. And that is, of course, Michael Jackson "Bad." Now, look, as much as, ooh, I'm trying to see who this is. I hate when I can't. Oh, of course, Everclear. Yes, Everclear, Strawberry. So anyway, Michael Jackson Bad. Um, at least five number one singles on it that I can think of. Of course, I'm more of a fan of Weird Al's Fat version of Bad, but still a great. Actually, you know what? I am going to look that up. I'm going to see how many singles, how many singles Michael. Let's see how many singles. Nine singles were released to promote the album. Five number ones. I Just Can't Stop Loving You, Bad, The Way You Make Me Feel, Man in the Mirror, and Dirty Diana. And of course, a great song there as well, covered by Alien Ant Farm, Smooth Criminal. I don't know which one I like better. I mean, I like Michael Jackson. I think Michael Jackson was a very talented singer, dancer, entertainer. Once again, I'm about the entertainment side of things. Um, yeah, so I really think that he got a bad rap in the press, but you know what? He was probably a pedophile. I mean, not gonna lie, he was weird. He definitely was weird, but he knew how to sing and he could dance. So, and he obviously should stay away from pyrotechnics and Pepsi products. Um, just saying. Uh, anyway, Michael Jackson, bad. Yes, of course. Alien Ant Farm did a great new metal-ish style song cover of Smooth Criminal. The kid that dances in that video is he's awesome. Little dude's about 12, just popping, locking, breaking everything. Oh, we got some Kid Motherfucking Rock. He's actually on tour with a couple of country artists. Shaman's Harvest. I'll have to listen to that one. Uh, Kid Rock's actually going to be in Sioux Falls, South Dakota for a 2-day event that's got a bunch of great country and a bunch of great rock artists. Nickelback is there one of the nights, Kid Rock is the other night headlining. But we got things like Alabama and Diamond Rio and a bunch of other really great uh, country and rock artists. So sometime in July, I'm not sure when that one is, but if you're interested, check it out. Number four album is one of my top 10 albums of all time. Came out in 1977. This is the uh, We Break Up, I Write a Song and Make You Sing It album by Fleetwood Mac. That is Rumors. Uh, Stevie Nicks and Mick Fleetwood and Christy McVie, John McVie, and oh shit, the that guy. Him. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, he did the vacation song. Uh, Holy Holiday Road by Lindsey Buckingham. Holy shit. So anyway, great album. Rumors. Yeah, that's a stellar album from front to back. Let's just take a quick look at Raji. Oh yeah, I don't want to know. Go your own way. The Chain, Dreams Don't Stop. You Make Loving Fun. Oh Daddy, what a okay. Now, out of all of the songs in that album, the last two are my by far my favorites. Oh Daddy, Christy McVie's voice in that song, ridiculous, unbelievable. If you do not know that song, when you're done listening to me ramble about a bunch of shit that doesn't really matter, look up Oh Daddy, Fleetwood Mac, Rumors. Turn it up, put some headphones on, and just listen to her voice. And of course, the last song on that album, Gold Dust Woman, Stevie Nicks. Great, great, great voice. Great, great song. But literally, I don't think there's one bad song on that. Songbird is okay. But Dreams is amazing. Yeah, that's a great album right there. So, all right, here we go. We're going to talk about the Bee Gees here for a minute and a bunch of other artists, but pretty much the Bee Gees. Saturday Night Fever, and also 1977. Okay, look. Only six. I was only six. I don't know that music. My dad was not listening to disco at that time. He was listening to Hendrix and the Eagles and Fleetwood Mac and all that other stuff. So yeah, I just got a crazy text message from yeah. So anyway, Bee Gees. I was only six. I didn't know disco. My dad wasn't listening to disco. But Saturday Night Fever, man, it's a great album. Some great songs. Obviously, very influential for that era. John Travolta, great dancing movie. Um, but don't know much about it. I know the songs that are on it, but I don't know much about it. Um, all right, number two. One of my number two. One of my favorite bands. Was lucky enough to see one of the surviving members at the last year Moondance Jam played, and that is the Eagles. Don Felder was there, one of the originals. Don Felder, yeah, but Eagles Hotel California. All right, what is there? What else can you say about Hotel California? I mean, hey, look at that. Now, is it the Cranberries or is it Bad Wolves? I think this might be. Nope, Bad Wolves. Nice. What else can you say about Hotel California? I mean, literally, it's. I wouldn't say it's their best album by any means, but if you look at the track listing, Hotel California, obviously great song. New Kid in Town, amazing. Life in the Fast Lane, probably one of my favorites. Wasted Time, another great song. Victim in Love, Pretty Eight Maids, all in a row. Hey, doesn't look. It's a great album. Came out December 8th, 1977. It has sold 32 million units. 32 million units. That is astronomical how much that is sold. It's a 43-minute long album, but great great stuff right there. Obviously, Joe Walsh, Don Henley, Glenn Fry. Um, who else we got in there? Timothy B. Schmidt, or the other guy that sang bass. Yeah. Anyway, of course, Don Felder was part of it. I've been to the corner of Winslow, Arizona. I have a picture of me standing next to the statues. It was pretty amazing. To be honest with you, I'm not gonna lie. Being my dad was an Eagles fan, so when I went on that little trip, it kind of felt like I was doing that for him. So anyway, love the album. Love the Eagles. Never had a chance to see them, and now that it's not um, Glenn Fry, don't get me. I like Vince Gill, but yeah, it's just not the same. So, and of course, we're going to talk about the number one album here. I mean, it should be a no-brainer. Number one album, selling album of all time. Michael Jackson, Thriller. I mean, what else is there to say about that album? Um, if you're from the era of MTV, you know all of the videos that came off of this one. We got Beat It, we got um, Billie Jean, of course, Thriller, the epic 14-minute long mini movie that they did with Vincent Price's voice and the amazing dancers, and you see all that stuff happening in pop culture. People will do the little, of course, 13 going on 30 did a great thing with Jennifer Garner, and Mark Ruffalo did that little thing, and then they got everybody else involved. And matter of fact, they even had what's his name from Lord of the Rings guy, the little my precious. What was his name? Anyway, he was one of the actors in the movie, so you even had him doing the dance, which is pretty cool. Obviously, Michael Jackson Thriller, biggest album of all time, broke Michael Jackson into a superstar. I mean, Off the Wall was a good album. It was more disco-y. It was more pop. Where, of course, he had Mr. Eddie Van Halen playing guitar. So I mean, come on, it's Michael Jackson. So I already talked enough about Michael Jackson tonight. So um, Andy Serkis, yes, I think he is an amazing actor. He was awesome. He was awesome in the Avengers movie. Yeah, he's a great actor, absolutely great actor. So anyway, those are the top 10 selling albums of all time. Once again, Dark Side of the Moon, Abbey Road, Zeppelin 4, Nevermind, Back in Black, Bad, Rumors, Saturday Night Fever, Hotel California, and Michael Jackson Thriller. So I would not disagree, other than, like I said, I really didn't think Nirvana. Oh, look at that. I was actually going to talk about this band tonight. We got some Guns N' Roses right now with Paradise City. Now, look, that right there is actually what I was going to start the show off with. Was going to talk about bands that were so huge, and ego literally killed the band. And this is a prime example right here. Look, 53 years old, going on 54. Appetite for Destruction came out, and it shut the entire music world down. There was not a person that wasn't listening who was into heavy metal or hair metal or hard rock that was not listening to this album. Um, this was everywhere. Uh, Appetite for Destruction. Not only did it have the three big singles, but honestly, there's not really a bad track on that album. But because Axl thought he was bigger than Jesus Christ, he completely destroyed that band. And he destroyed an entire arena in Canada because he refused to come out and sing. When he was on tour with Metallica, and James got burnt up in the pyrotechnics, um, and Axl could have been the hero. Axl could have literally gone down as the savior of that night. Instead, he came out, did three songs, didn't like how it sounded, slammed his mic down, and ran off stage. And backstage, he was drinking and smoking and complaining about how his throat hurt. And they pretty much burned that place to the ground that night. So, and then, Lies, Lies was a good album. I mean, it wasn't great, it was good. Um, Use Your Illusion 1 and 2, between both albums, I think there's probably, my opinion, probably eight good songs. The rest are all filler. I love Civil War. One of my favorite songs on there is Civil War. Of course, the one from T3. Uh, yeah, the one from T3. Um, Don't Cry, of course, both versions of Don't Cry, because I love Shannon Hoon's voice. Shannon Hoon, there's another unfortunate death, man. That right there, that one hurt because Blind Melon was a phenomenal band. Blind Melon was a great band, and that's terrible. But so anyway, Guns N' Roses, and then after the Illusion stuff, they Spaghetti Incident and all that other, and of course, now I actually own Chinese Democracy on CD, and if you don't try to think about it as a Guns N' Roses album, it's not a bad album. If you think, holy cow, it's Guns N' Roses, you're going to be very disappointed. It's trash. Um, for Guns N' Roses, it's got some really good stuff. Buckethead's a great guitar player, man. Buckethead is really a great guitar player. But Axel just, man, look, Axel's not Axel anymore. He's not that Axel right there. Just like Vince Neil is not the Vince Neil of 84, 85, 86 in that looks and shout and home sweet home era. He looks like he just got done with the old country buffet and didn't wipe his mouth with his napkin instead of his shirt kind of guy. But I guess one of his airplanes, thank you for the hearts, by the way, or the smileys. Um, one airplane that he owns actually got into an accident in Arizona or somewhere over, and somebody actually died. Vince wasn't on board, but I just saw the news literally like 10 minutes before I came on. I didn't get a chance to actually research it, but so anyway, a plane that Vince Neil owns or Motley Crue owns got into an accident on a runway and somebody ended up passing away. Um, but yeah, this album right here, I've probably gone through at least a dozen copies of that between cassette, vinyl, and CD. It's a great album. Um, I was hoping that we'd get a reunion um, with the Five original. As much as I love Matt Sorum, I think Matt Sorum is by far a superior drummer to um, Steven Adler. But Adler was dirty. He was the dirty drummer, man. That's what they needed for that time. And get all five guys back together for a reunion would be it would be stellar. It would be $1 billion selling tour, but it's never going to happen. Um, it'll just never happen. Uh, you can't get all five of those guys in a room together. I know it's either Duff. Is it Duff or is it Izzy? One of those two literally said, "I'll never go anywhere near that guy." It's got to be Izzy then, because I think Duff was on tour with Slash and Matt and Axel when they kind of tried to do some stuff. But um, yeah, see, now I used to have some of the Izzy Stradlin's solo stuff and the Juju Hounds. Man, that was good. He's a great guitar player. Of course, I have Slash's stuff as well. Even had a little bit of Duff's solo stuff. I think it was called Loaded, something like that. Um, do have some Adler's Appetite stuff as well. So I kind of followed the whole GNR group, man. I mean that's what I was listening to. Then of course, part of Guns N' Roses goes off and does a little Velvet Revolver with my favorite '90s guy. So kind of was even a double lottery ticket scratch winner there. So um, anyway, I don't got much more time here because my throat's starting to get sore because I'm not used to talking this much. But I'm gonna do probably one more little segment here. Um, by the way, congratulations to the football team of the Philadelphia Eagles. Oh shit, my camera moved. There we go. Um, Philadelphia Eagles with the Super Bowl win. Great show by the team there. I was so hoping that the Chiefs weren't going to win. One, because I didn't want to hear about Dynasty for another fucking 3 years. But I just got tired of hearing about Jason Kelce and Taylor Swift. It was about football, okay? It's not about Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift doesn't throw passes, doesn't catch passes. Christ, she doesn't even kick, all right? And I didn't want him to win and get down on one knee and ask her to marry him on the middle of the fucking field. So I'm glad they lost. It should have been, honestly, I would have been more inclined to really want to watch it if it would have been Buffalo and Washington, um, or even Kansas City, Detroit, because Detroit just fell apart. But they lost so many defensive players this year. There just wasn't a whole lot left to them. So anyway, congratulations to the Eagles. I'm a Phillies guy. I love the Phillies. I'm all about the Phillies baseball. I like my Twins too, so I'm going to give you a little Phillies Twins update here now that football season is over. That means we are on to pitchers and catchers are reporting to their respective areas, either Arizona or Florida. This will be the first year uh, in 3 years now that I will not be able to go to a spring training game at Clearwater, Water, for all my Northeast guys up there, Clearwater, to see the Phillies play, but that's all right. But there is some big news on the Twins side here. So over the last couple of days, the Twins have gone up, got a couple of players, not necessarily high caliber players, were at one time or maybe had the opportunity but never really seized it. The Twins agreed to a deal with free agent Ty France. Ty France, for those of you that are not familiar with Ty France, he is a first baseman that played mostly in, I believe, Seattle. Yeah, he played mostly in Seattle. He played last year with Cincinnati. Um, he's only got 74 home runs in his 8 year, 9 year career, so he's not a power hitter. Um, 20 is the most he's ever hit. But what I'm looking at is his average. All right, he's a 263 average. All right, so that's not a bad average for a batter. In this day and age. So I'll take a 263. He is not really strikeout prone. It looks like in his he did play 158 games for Seattle in 23, and he only struck out 117 times in what is it at I don't know. So 158 games, so 100, so less than a strikeout a game. So for me, that's all right. It's the strikeout rate. You got to hit the ball. So I'm all right with that. We did lose Santana. Santana is no longer with the Twins, so that kind of sucks. I was actually excited about that. Um, he's good first baseman. But the other signing that don't know yet. I'm not 100% on this one yet, but the Twins signed center fielder Harrison Bader. Now, Harrison Bader has been around for a while. Played with St. Louis Cardinals mostly, but spent last year with the Mets. He's an average 242 hitter. He's a good outfielder, very good defensive player. Um, Once again, another one of those guys. Not a whole lot of pop. 71 home runs in 10 seasons, 9, 10 seasons. So not really a home run hitter, but great defensive guy. Can steal a few bases. Very low strikeout rate. That's another great thing with him. He's uh, most he's had in one season was 125, which is still got way too many. But I'll take it. He's we'll see what he can do for us. And then the big one, we picked up Danny Columbine. We signed him. He was an Orioles pitcher for the last couple of years. He played with us for a few years back then. He's gotten better since he's left us and came back, but I'm hoping that he can add a little depth to that pitching rotation for the Minnesota Twins. And then, of course, my Philadelphia Phillies here. 95 and 67 last year, but they just can't get it done in the playoffs. So, of course, managed by the amazing Rob Thompson. Uh, so the key additions this year is not really a whole lot other than they did take Max Kepler away from the Twins. I believe Maxi got a 1 year, $10 million deal to play. Sounds like they're going to put him in left field instead of right. He's always been a right fielder, so I don't know if that's a wise move. But you got Nick Castellanos in right field already, unless you're willing to get rid of Nick. Because you got you got Rojas in center field. He's your center fielder of the future. He just needs to hit the ball. Um, and then you've got the caveman. So I mean, you've got a great outfield. I don't know why you would pick up somebody like Max Kepler unless you're thinking about getting Rick Nicky. So um, you got Marsh, Rojas, either Kepler or Castellanos in the outfield. Um, so they did pick up Jordan Romano, who's going to be a great back end fit for the bullpen, and Joe Ross, who's a good rotation guy as well. Some depth there. Um, we did lose a really big part of that bullpen from last year. We lost Jeff Hoffman and Carlos Estevez. Uh, those two were pretty badass at the back end. Um, Austin Hayes is now with the Reds. He wasn't much. And Spencer Turnbull, who came out and literally pitched the game of his life in his first game as a Philly. I believe it was a no hitter, and he's unsigned right now. So maybe he'll come back. I don't know. So of course the big thing is that infield. I mean, look, you got Bryce Harper, you got Trey Turner, you got um, oh Jesus, Trey Turner. Then you got Bryson Stott at second base, and you got okay, JT Realmuto behind the plate. Kyle Schwarber is your DH. I mean, you got you got some pretty goddamn good talent right there. So it's just they need to do something with it. I mean, they need to do something with it because you got the second largest payroll in all of baseball. You got to win it. I mean, you can't keep putting your fans through this. Um, especially you know you got some aging players here now. Um, so I don't know. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the Yahoo Sports page here. So we got Brandon Marsh. They say is center field, which is great because he's a great center fielder. But I think he would be better off as left field. You put Johan Rojas in center field, and you put Max in right field. They don't even have Nick Castellanos on the depth chart. So of course, then you got Bohm, Turner, Stott, and Harper across the infield. I mean, that's all stars. All four of them should be all stars. And then you got Mr. Clutch, Mr. Bench himself, Edmundo Sosa. Sosa is literally the guy who's come and picked up everybody that needed it. Um, so, and then, behind the plate, you got JT. JT's he's 33 years old, so he's getting up there. You got Marshawn. He's the second year now, third year guy. The boy can hit, he can throw. Of course, Cody Clemens is going to be on the bench. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't be on the bench. And then Cal Stevenson, man. Cal Stevenson made a name for himself at the end of the season last year, along with Weston Wilson. Look, man, that's a great lineup right there. That not as great as the Dodgers, but it's a pretty damn good lineup. So anyway, all right. So anyway, that was my first episode of. Oh, we got some autograph playing to turn up the radio. So hey, thanks. I'll do another one here eventually. If you liked what you heard, leave a comment here. Leave a comment on my Facebook page, whatever. I have no idea how many people watched, but you're gonna get a little bit of this every time. I'll talk about some music, talk about some sports, talk about whatever the hell I want because, well, it's my shit show. Welcome to it. All right. Anyway, everybody, peace, love, and happiness. I am out of here.